Dang, Toto, you got yourself an upgrade, man. You were a little itty bitty doggy in 1938, and now you a snow leopard in 2024. Wow. Wicked Part 1, directed by John M. Chu, is of course the adaptation of the stage play, which is an adaptation of the novel of course, the same name, Wicked. So, what did I think about it? Well, let's talk about the categories and give it a score. First, acting. Cynthia Erivo, masterful. There's not really much to say about her performance other than she's probably going to be nominated for an Oscar. From start to finish, when she's on screen, she demands your attention, even though sometimes Elphaba doesn't want the attention. You really see the character embody within Cynthia Erivo and how she's able to portray Elphaba in this film. As someone who didn't watch the stage play, as someone who didn't read the novel, who had zero knowledge on really what this film was about, I'm pleasantly surprised on what these characters are and what the actors do on screen. But yeah, Cynthia Erivo, absolutely phenomenal. If I wanted to really nitpick, I'd say there's like one or two lines within the movie where I thought that her delivery was just off. But delivery, schmelivery, how about Ariana Grande though? She is great. I mean, you can tell just by the look in her eyes, the way she's speaking, the way she sings, that she has so much heart and soul about the source material. Of course, the very few things that I knew about this film going into it was that she was a huge fan and this is what she wanted to do pretty much forever. And you can tell when actors love what they're doing, you can tell, and it's very easy and very simple to kind of go, wow, great performance. Then you have Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero, who's like the love interest, right? And I will say, the only thing marketing-wise that I had heard going into this film was how good Jonathan Bailey was. So it hurt when I kind of walked out of the theater and went, he was all right. Like, he wasn't groundbreaking. Like, it wasn't like, holy crap, that guy is phenomenal. He was good. He was serviceable. Like, he's not bad, but he wasn't at the standard that so many people had acclaimed. And yeah, that's my bad for going into the film thinking that there's this actor who has this groundbreaking performance that's going to break through past really the two main leads within this film. And yeah, he's just all right. He's still good though, don't get me wrong, but he's not at what people said that he was when going to watch this film. Of course, you can't not talk about Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Yeoh. They're great. Their performances may be small in screen time, but they're big and grand in the scheme of things, and I very much appreciated what they brought to the table. Overall, the acting was great. Like I said, some line deliveries were a little bit off, but I ain't here to nitpick and be a bully. Full star. Visuals. The point of a film is supposed to transport you to another world. Whether that world looks like ours or it's another completely mystical, magical fantasy world. This film does that. And does it to about 99% perfection. The CGI, the set design, the wardrobe, and of course, the camera all entangle in this beautiful woven piece of art that has been brought upon us. You're transported. There's not much else to say that they built a world where you're familiar with. Of course, people are familiar with the Emerald City, with the Yellow Brick Road, with other aspects of the land of Oz, right? But they do such a good job of going through your head and over your head and allow you to just be put in another world for almost 3 hours. And it's great. If there is something to nitpick, though, there are a few moments where the CGI is just rough, or the green screen is just rough, and it's hard to see and it's hard to watch especially for me when I'm just kind of trying to zone in, and sometimes those things get me off track of trying to be in the zone. But again, I'm not here to truly nitpick and be a bully. 99% of it was great. These parts aren't going to be something that people get upset about anyway, so yeah. And how could you not talk about the camera work? I'm sure that watching this compared to the stage play is a different take entirely. Of course, a stage play, you as the viewer have one point of view during the whole entire thing. This film allows you and allows the camera and the point of view to breathe, allows it to have this own character, like I say all the time with cameras and having their own characters, and you can be there and experience things in a grander scale. It's done great. It's done well. And you know what? Full star. Audio. So, joke or follow your doo-doo. This is how you do a musical, buddy. Now, of course, Wicked has maybe a couple decades of experience over you, Todd Phillips. But you know what? I don't care. This film, as a musical, is great. The songs are memorable, but they also push the narrative forward, unlike the other film. They push the narrative forward. They make sense. It gives the characters development within the songs rather than just being this grandiose set piece. It's infused right. It's infused well, and I enjoyed it. The singing performances were really great. Of course, Ariana Grande is Ariana freaking Grande, and she's absolutely amazing from start to finish. Cynthia Erivo is great as well. She has no issues whatsoever when it comes to the singing aspect of it. And Jonathan Bailey has a couple things in there too, and he's pretty good too. I had no issues with hearing anyone. I had no issues with the regular sound effects. So with audio, full star. Story. So, like I've said, I had very little to no knowledge about what this film was. I knew it was a Wizard of Oz-esque film that's, like for comic book people, it's like a multiverse, right? This is just a different telling of a story within this world with the same characters that you love, and you hate. And I think they did a great job. Of course, this film is a two-parter, and I knew this going in over a year, 2 years ago when they announced that it was going to be a two-parter. I will say I do find it a little bit shady that they didn't market it as a two-parter. It's kind of scummy. And I get the reason that they want people just to go in and experience it and like the film rather than going in and saying, I'm going to spend 3 hours here, probably 3 hours there. I don't think I want to do that. Now, I don't have problems with long run times. Some of my favorite movies of all time are even longer than this film, but there are a few issues. Really, I have two. One, the runtime is a bit long, and if you're not truly invested in it, I can definitely see you kind of drifting off and not being fully immersed in the story. Now, to talk about this film, I also want to bring up The Wizard of Oz. For a simple fact, The Wizard of Oz is like a race car. It starts and finishes at such a lightning speed that the story that they tell, even though it's simple, it's done masterfully. Not saying the story isn't a masterful piece of art, because I think it has a lot of value, but the pacing at times seems off, and it kind of bugged me from time to time. There were down periods in this film where I truly felt like this is probably unnecessary. I'm going to keep it in the back of my head, and if this was unnecessary, I'm going to be pretty upset that 5 minutes was here, 6 minutes was there, 3 minutes was here, and you could have shaved some time off to probably get to 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And there are a few scenes that I kind of go, you could probably crumple them up and throw them away and you'll probably still be fine. But, you want to make the fans of the stage play and the book happy. And then my second problem is that there's a line delivered by a certain character that I kind of go, yeah, duh. It kind of, to me, makes the character feel a little dumber. Now, It happens towards the end of the film, so I don't want to like spoil anything, of course. And I might have some people saying, well, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is, it's like, you probably don't understand what line I'm actually talking about, because there's a certain line where I kind of go, how would you not know? It makes no sense in this world how you would not know this thing about this person. Overall, I really liked the story. I just didn't love it at times. So a story, I'm going to give it half a star. Enjoyment. There's a lot of movies out there that I love every little aspect of, except for one thing, and it kind of takes me out of it. I have no issues that this is a 2-part film. A lot of things that I just enjoy about this film and love about this film. But does the story lack certain progression speeds that I feel completely let out when it comes to loving this film? Well, I've thought long and hard about this from the time the credits started rolling to the time I got in my car to the time I pulled up to my place of living, to where I walked up my stairs, to where I walked into this room so I can film this video, and I can say, yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of this film. It's a good watch. It really, really is. And I'm honestly stunned of how really good it is. It's borderline great. It's borderline masterful. And I now, after seeing it, I totally understand why the people who wanted to make this movie and produce this movie, why they waited so long to pull the trigger on a feature film, and why they chose Jon M. Chu because of this. It's really good. And I will say, I assume most people who are watching this are people who are fans of Wicked, and they want to get in the headspace of going to go see it, and they want to know if people really like it. And coming from an outsider, yeah, I really liked it, minus like I said, story progression. But I'm not talking to you because you're already going to buy a ticket and you're already going to go see it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 times. Or more. I don't know. This film is destined to make $1 billion. But I'm speaking to the people who don't watch musicals. I'm speaking to the people who don't really like movies like this. Trust me when I say, go see the damn thing. It's really good. So with enjoyment, full star. So, if you're keeping track at home, that means you already know that I give Wicked Part 1 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think this movie is fantastic.